G'day guys, back again, Obi2 here, and just going to do installment 4 or episode 4 of growing this mini base. So just logged in, had a look around. As you can see, we're upgrading the HQ now to level 4. Got most of the turrets upgraded, one's still going. Main reason we're going up to level 4 now is because once you get up there, you can start doing heroic defenses, and they get you crates that you can unlock extra stuff. Very handy, and you can earn yourself some regular crates. I think it's 2 a day. There are some ways to, by changing your location and time, to do more than that a day, but I'm just going to play it the way that the game intends and not try and cheat the system. We'll be able to unlock a stack of crates through that, through the daily crates, and also, of course, through conflicts and war. So we're going to get our units upgraded pretty quickly. We're going to unlock some great stuff. Going to jump in and have some fun. Before I get too far into it, just want to remind you to subscribe. That way you get regular updates and notifications about these episodes that are coming out. And also I do post some other content from time to time from some of my bigger bases, and they're worth a look as well. Alright, so I was going pretty hard on these conflicts. So I was flat out like a lizard drinking, and unfortunately didn't finish in Ultra Chrome, didn't finish, in fact it ended up Bronzium, just slipped out of the second tier. I was at 4% and in the Obsidian, just slipped out of it because I had to log out and grab some sleep, and didn't get what I was going after, but that's all right. We ended up doing pretty well. Joined the conflict late in the stages of it, and did still get these Bronzium crates. So let's open them up and get those out of the way. See what we got in there. Now, got a couple of defense wins. I'll run through one of those, and I'll also show you the layout of the base that I've got. There's those speeder trucks. So we got 8 of those frags. So we're getting there. Yeah, for those of you looking to win some defenses, I'll show you my base layout. I'll show you the replay and why it works. But you may not actually want to win defenses all the time. There is a reason not to win defenses, and that's holding on to resources. With some of my bigger bases, I've gone on big win streaks at various times. One of them I think was 15 wins in a row, and that sounds brilliant. Certainly gets you a lot of medals. Awesome for conflicts, to get you up in the rankings of the conflicts. But one downside to it is that you get broke on resources because you're not getting put into protection. So you have to decide whether you actually want to win defenses or not. Figure out what you're actually playing for. Are you playing to hold on to resources so you can upgrade faster? In which case you probably don't want to win defenses. Let one person take you into protection. Stay in there until you're ready to go again and do a bunch of attacks and build up your resources. And don't leak resources that way. However, if you've got lots of droids and as soon as you've finished doing your attacks and you start all your droids doing the upgrades and you're not holding masses of resources, winning defenses is an excellent way, as I said, to move up in the conflicts and to get some medals. And it's fun. You know, you log in and you see all these people failing on your base. It's enjoyable. So let's jump in here and have a look. Just say hello to Finn there, who's joined us, which is excellent. Oops, good, can't type. Morning, Finn. Alright, so I got asked to post some replays, so I've posted some replays of attacks, and I'll jump in and show you those, but the first thing I'll do is show you this defense that we got overnight. We're still not getting many defenses at the moment because there's not that many people out willing to take on, every base that they see. They're doing a lot of skipping. But as you can see, we've got that TOG in there, and an ATRT has come out of the squad center. And as predicted, people are attacking from the bottom rather than coming from the top. And pretty much they're getting the squad center and all those turrets coming into play straight away. They're busy attacking the resources and the walls, and in turn my base is taking them out. And feel a bit sorry for this guy. He's not a drongo, he's just new, and hasn't quite tackled the base the right way there. So VVV, maybe if you ever watch this replay or search for yourself online and find this replay, you'd be much better to drop a single unit down there and trigger the squad center, then drop a unit up near this droid hut, bring everything out and kill it while it walks, and you'll find that you'll do much better. And all of us can use that to take on bases. And in fact, I'll jump into a replay here where the guy had heavies, and I'll show you exactly that. So here's an attack that I did. I haven't found too many squad centers with things in it, but as you can see, he's got 2 heavies. They seem pretty decent. So we drop a reb over here and make them walk, and they don't fire another shot. So we take them out, and I spread my rebs out there just in case there was a trap. But Chewie over there has triggered the trap. There probably isn't more than 1 or 2 traps on these level bases. From there, everything was pretty straightforward. Chewie jumps in, takes most of the turrets out, and the rebs do the cleaning up. So I'll speed that up. No need to watch it all. Pretty straightforward. But the main thing is the baiting of the squad center. You've got to bait them, you've got to make them walk, and then you've got to kill them. Now, the one caveat to that way of playing that I'll mention is that there are units that retask. So every time that they turn, or every time that they have to go round a building, or once the unit that they've targeted has died, they do retask. Now, probably the most lethal is bikes. Bikes are super fast. They retask to nearest unit, and that makes them lethal. So you really need to be careful when you see bikes come out. You're going to need a lot of rebels, and you might even need your own squad center. Don't wait to drop your squad center if you're at all concerned and don't think you can handle it. Go early with your squad center to deal with them, rather than late. Alright, so as I mentioned, I'll jump in and show you the layout of this base. Now, what you notice is that there are no gaps. They can't drop in the middle of my base. They can't force my turrets to take on specific targets by dropping in there. They've got to drop on the outside, and then a lot of their units are going to target resources or walls rather than our turrets. So, for example, I'll show you how that works. If you only leave one gap between things, they actually can't drop in it. So let's move this one wall piece. Let's move it back in and leave it 2 gaps away. And you can see that there's this big gap where they could actually drop in my base there. But by putting a single layer of gaps around, moving things close enough together, we leave absolutely no gaps in our base, and we force them to drop on the outside of this base and have to walk in, which gives our turrets a lot more time to fire at them. They have to take our turrets on 1 by 1, and our turrets have overlapping fire. So you can see that a whole stack of these, even coming into here, like that one replay I showed you, these turrets are getting involved very early, and our squad center is involved very early. I mean, wherever they drop here, as soon as they start coming into range of the turrets, our squad center is triggered, and it's involved in the fight as well, making this very, very tricky to deal with unless you've got a lot of experience and unless you bait everything out. And even if you do bait it out, one problem with that is that you tend to, let's say you bring it up here, you're going to bunch all your units together to deal with my squad center, and then you're coming down as one mass army, and my mortar, and that's why I have one mortar here, will actually start pounding all that grouped army. And so that's why it's also down here further and not up closer. So they're dealing with these ones and all these buildings, and the mortar sitting back is picking them off, pounding them. So I don't like mortars per se. I don't use a lot of them. But one key mortar can make a very bad day for an attacker. And so if you're going to copy this design, you really do need that mortar, at least until later on where you start having some options of turrets like burst turrets and rocket turrets. The 5 rapid fires are a generalist and very good at overlapping fire, but you do need that mortar to deal with the grouped troop group army that comes in. So anyway, that's why this is designed that way. I also have intentionally put resources at key spots, because what you can actually do is influence the pathing of the units. So when they come in, let's zoom in a little bit here, you can make them change, or not change, you can make them target specific units. So as they come in, they're going to be firing at this, and coming across to the turrets, and then they either go here or here, and depending on where they've dropped, they're now in range of these 3 turrets. And similarly over this side, if they drop too close over here, they're going to be targeting these 2 and then this one, allowing our turrets in our squad center to target them, and it kind of takes them away from the target that they want their units to go after. Now obviously there are some units that will target turrets only, and that's fine. They're going to work slowly through the base and come past our squad center, and then they're going to go around. So unless they really divide up their forces, which can be very dangerous if they haven't dealt with the squad center, then we're in really good position here to hand out some absolute butt kickings. And that's what you can see here in this defense. Somebody who hasn't got a lot of experience, probably, he's only come back with 8%, which is not a very good result, unfortunately, for them. And I expect over time we'd probably see a lot of those sort of defenses if I sat here at this level. But I'm going up to level 4, and I'm going to rework this base to make it a hero defense base, which is a different kettle of fish altogether. Probably going to move it up to this top corner. Hero defenses are a little bit different. Where things spawn and why they spawn is different to how a regular player tackles your base. So although I love the bottom corner for early base design because of the way people tend to tackle it, for a heroic defense I am going to move it up to the top to take advantage of where troops spawn for her heroic defense, to make sure that my turrets are dealing with them and that they're focused on my walls while my turrets are handing out lashings of damage. Alrighty, so a couple other things to let you know. If you notice up the top there under the OB2, we're now level 2. So that's just purely a ranking that you get based on how many attacks and defenses you've got total. We need 94 more victories, defenses or attacks, to get to level 3. Doesn't make a lot of difference in terms of the gameplay for your base, except that it does have an impact upon matchmaking in player versus player. So the higher that is, plus your base score, plus your medals, those are the 3 factors that come into play to decide who you go up against, player versus player. So the more medals you accumulate, the more you upgrade your base, and the more attacks and defenses you win, the harder the opponents that you're going to come up against. Alrighty, so one of the things I was going to do is jump in here and replay one of the other attacks I wanted to show you. And I think it's this one, so let's jump in and have a look. And it's got to do with mortar turrets. I wanted to let you know something very cool about mortar turrets when you're attacking. So we check the squad center first, make sure there's nothing in there. And then you'll note this mortar turret here, mortar turret, can't speak, apologies, isn't even firing. So they are excellent at taking out massed infantry, but they can't fire right next to themselves. They have a range, long distance range to mid range. Once you go really close, they don't even fire. So if you're going to design a base, you need to make sure that those turrets are tucked in and that they can't land anything right next to it. But when you're attacking, you can take advantage of this. You can drop one rebel right next to it, and it will sit there and it will pick it off slowly, and that turret will never fire unless other units come within range. And that can make cleaning up a base like this one really easy, that had a stack of mortar turrets that were all spread out and had no overlapping fire. And so that becomes apparent if we end this attack. That you can pick, if you hunt for bases like that, you can take them down with very small forces. You don't need many troops at all. And so if we have a look at one more replay, and that's this one. You can see that, again, I start with the mortar turret because that first one isn't even going to fire. And it doesn't do a lot of damage. Mortar turrets don't do a lot of damage to Wookiees, but I dropped the second one a little bit away so he doesn't take damage from the second mortar turret. So only the rapid fire turrets are really doing any damage to that second one, which is weaker than our hero. And a few rebels to help clean up this base around the traps, but you'll see that we hardly use anything to clean up this base. And it just really comes down to the design of the base. It's somebody who's just dropped them down or isn't sure where to put them, and perhaps they were trying to create a lot of overlapping fire with all those turrets lined up, but it just doesn't work. So be aware of that. If you're going to create a base, there are some fundamental things to do. In the early stages, I highly recommend trying to slow your opponent down by spreading your base out like this. If you create walls, because the opponent is using mechanized units, a lot of those units will actually just roll over walls, so they don't do a lot. Walls tend to stop infantry more than they stop mechanical units, so units that you can make in the factory. So because of that, the Imperials are going to be bringing a lot of mechanical units. So one thing that you can do is force them to drop them further away, roll in towards your turrets, and spend time moving rather than firing. And that's why I've designed this base this way. It also means that they can't easily trip my squad center. You can see that the ring around the squad center, if they were to attack from this side over here near the research, they're not going to trip it straight away. They're already firing, they're walking in, and just disregard that timer that went off. I don't know if it came up for you guys, but gotta go put something in the oven in a minute. So yeah, the squad center, when you go up, when we get to level 4, we could actually design this base so that they cannot trip the squad center. We could put more stuff around it, spread it out more, so that they cannot trip the squad center without sending something in and sacrificing it and giving up unit capacity from their transports. So once again, if you decide that you want to go defensive on your base, and that's a brilliant strategy, it's one that I personally love. I've always designed bases to be the hardest to attack that I can make them, and I've had a lot of success over the years at different levels doing that, and I'm more than happy to share that experience with you guys. But it isn't necessarily for everyone. Some of the top players in the game don't chase defense wins at all. They maybe don't even bother building traps. They're not worried about winning defenses, so they keep their base score a bit lower to make easier attacking, so they get better matchups for their attacking. But also, it means that they hold on to their resources a bit easier, and only get hit once and then put in to protection, mitigating the loss of resources, which is a perfectly fine strategy. So you guys just have to decide what you want to do with your base. Alrighty, so tomorrow in the next installment we'll have level 4 and a whole bunch of new structures to build. We've got some exciting things to do there. I'm going to do 2 quick attacks. I'm going to use, let's jump in and do the attacks, and then I'm going to go into the headquarters and grab out some interesting different units to try. So let's do that now, and then I'll call it a day. So Commander Wolf, alright. I don't tend to turn down too many bases that I see straight away. Lack of patience, mainly. Let's go with the mortar over here, distract it, get into the rocket turret. There we go, some rebs behind. And we'll just let that work through the base. Now that would be enough to deal with this base. Those turrets are not very big, but because I want to jump into another attack pretty soon, I'm going to speed it up a little bit just by dropping a few more rebels around the traps. That should do it. And you'll see a lot of bases that look like this. The tutorials that run you through the start and where it suggests you place things does tend to form clumps of stuff. But if you take the time to design a good base, it's going to net you some better results. Almost there. Alrighty. Now on the next attack, let's jump in here, grab some unit samples. We'll take a... Do not have enough capacity. Oh, it's too slow. So we'll go with a stolen TX. Throw Han in there. Now, I recommend trying out units from your HQ, but I wouldn't burn them. So try one, see what you think. Give it a go. But if you've got only a few in your HQ, it's worth holding on to them until a conflict comes around, because they will speed up your builds, help you get higher in the conflicts, and later on they're also very useful for wars. So do try to not just burn them at, for regular attacks and things that don't actually provide you any benefit. Player versus player attacks, you don't need to burn your HQ units most of the time. And let's jump in here. We'll start some stuff cooking. Done. Go. Right, so Han is cool. One of the things, benefits that Han brings, that they modified about, it might have been about a year ago now, is that he actually blows up a trap. So when you drop him, he'll hunt for a trap, and then he'll start going after shield generators and then turrets. So this looks decent. Even though he goes for traps, I'm still going to check the squad center. Okay, so hands in, it doesn't look like there's any traps. And the TX is brilliant. It's a brute, goes after turrets, it rolls over walls, so it can help you get through breach walls very quickly, and it smashes turrets. Very good for wars. You can use it in front of a big force, and it will, apart from rocket turrets will hurt it. Everything else takes a long time to kill it. So as long as you can get the right matchup, throw down something that makes the rocket target it first, the TX will last for ages and do a heap of work for you. Very, very handy. Let's throw a couple of rebs out now, speed this up. There we go. Oh, why hold one? In terms of squad center units, as you saw, for my defense I was using a TOG and an ATRT. But when I get to level 4 and I get 16 units, the two most likely squad center combinations I will use is 3 bikes, because bikes, when they are level 7 or higher, get a speed boost and they become lethal, which is also very handy for doing heroic defenses if you're using a squad center. But another really brilliant combination with 16 units is a TOG and a TX. Now, people can't cook you a TX, but many people have lots and lots of them in their HQ, and if they don't mind parting with one, yes, sir, because it is such a brute and only rocket turrets really do good work against it, many of the attackers who come won't have anything that'll deal with it. It's slow, so once they trip the squad center, it'll be slow to move out, but it will sit in front of the TOG. So it will actually lead out and take most of the fire, while the TOG is effectively a sniper. It sits behind sharpshooting units and picking them off, almost one-shotting most of them. It'll be absolutely lethal. That combination could last you many defenses, one after the other. You could go away for a couple of days, come back. So if you've got a holiday coming up, it's a brilliant combination to use, and quite possibly, if they're high level, they'll still be in your squad center, defending your base when you get back, and you'll just have a string of defense wins. So you may not want to win a lot of defenses, as I said before, but there are situations like when you're going on holiday, where you've got to defend your base, may not have the opportunity to log in. That is a combination that will work for you time and time again. Alright guys, well I think that's it for today. If you've got any questions, just feel free to post them in the comments below. And tomorrow, let's look forward to getting to HQ4, starting some heroic defenses, and working on a new layout. Alright, thanks for watching, and catch you soon.